Hello everyone, I am your instructor Harshit Kashyap, here to welcome you all of today's beautiful lecture of topic percentage type trick. So, what's our today goal is? Our today goal is to learn percentage type trick for solving any percentage value. Now, coming to the next slide, what our target audience is or who is our target audience. So, first of all, if you are a JEE Mains and JEE Advanced aspirants, then you are most welcome to watch this video. After that, also, those who prepare for any competitive examinations or there will be preparing for board examination as well, which is related to the science field, then these type of students are also welcome to watch this video. In the last, if you are here for the fun sake, then you are most welcome to watch this video. Let's have fun together and learn together as well. Now, why you need to know the trick of the questions, or you can say why you need to watch this video. So, knowing the trick of a question will reduce your effort. Reduce your effort means you are giving the less time as accepted in the particular question, so it will reduce your effort, of course. After that, it will increase the time for your examination. Time for your examination or your time for you in exam means that if you're solving the questions in less than 30 seconds or 10 seconds, then you are able to give that time to some questions, some other questions which can't be solved by some tricky method. So you are increase the time for your examination, and if you increase your time, you also increase your productivity in your examination. And in this last, if these three factors occurs, then surely it will boost your performance as well in your examination, and you will get good marks as you wanted. Now, after knowing these things, we directly come to our topic, which is the percentage type problem solving trick. Now, what does this trick says? This trick simply says for any relation y is equal to kx to the power n, where k is some constant value, or you can say if y is directly proportional to x to the power n, then if the proportionality sign gone, there will be a constant k will come. As we all know that if proportionality sign gone, there will be some constant k will come. So y is equal to kx to the power n, or you can say y directly proportional to x to the power n. Then for this type of relation, the examiner asks us that if percentage change in x is alpha percent, say they given us a question in which the percentage change in x is say alpha percent, then they might ask us what is the percentage change in y. So how we can find it? We can simply multiply n with alpha, and we got our answer as n times alpha percent, where n is nothing but the power raised to x and alpha is the change in x. So here you can say y is directly proportional to x to the power n, so n is simply the power raised to the x, and alpha is simply the percentage change in x, that is in our case is alpha percent. So simply the percentage change in y become n times of alpha percent. For better understanding this, let's go move ahead to an example. Now, as we all know, the kinetic energy is half times of mv squared, or you can say kinetic energy is directly proportional to the square of velocity, that is ke is directly proportional to v square. And you can also see if this relation hold good, if the mass of a body is constant, then kinetic energy is directly proportional to v square. Then suppose in our examination there will be a question come in which they ask us that the percentage change in velocity it increases to 0.4%, then what is the percentage change in kinetic energy is equal to? So let's go to the next slide for better understanding what the question want to ask us. So coming to the next slide, suppose we have a person P standing at some point A now, which initial velocity v1 and initial kinetic energy k1, you can say. Now it's going a straight path and reaches to point B by suddenly increasing its velocity with say v1 times of 0.4%. That is in given in question that if its initial velocity is v1 and now it increases its velocity with 0.4% of its initial velocity, now its final velocity, that is v2, becomes v1 plus v1 times 0.4% of initial velocity, that is given in our question. So he finally come at point B, and if the velocity changes, then there must be a kinetic energy also changes, which now becomes k2. So the examiner want to ask us or want to know what is the percentage change in kinetic energy. If the person reaches from point A to point B, then what exactly the percentage change in kinetic energy occur? That is simple. That is the question that is the examiner wanted to ask from us. Now, solving this type of question, you got a general method as well as a tricky method. So first of all, I am going to show you general method. Then after, I am showing you tricky method as well. Now, coming to our general method, which is here to finding the solution, or you can say percentage change in kinetic energy, we first need to find the initial kinetic energy, which is 1 by 2 mv1 square, letting that its initial velocity is v1. Now the question given it increases its velocity with 0.4% of its initial velocity, so its final velocity becomes v1, which is their initial velocity, plus v1 times 0.4%, from which they increases their velocity. Now its final velocity becomes 100.4 v1 by 100. Now what is to find the final kinetic energy? To find the final kinetic energy, we use the formula again, 1 by 2 mv2 square, where velocity is v2. Now substituting the value of v2 that we find here in the final kinetic energy, we got our final kinetic energy as that. Now how to find the percentage change in kinetic energy? We simply subtract the final kinetic energy minus of initial kinetic energy and divide it with initial kinetic energy and multiply it with 100. So you can see our final kinetic energy is k2, our initial kinetic energy is k1. Dividing it with k1 and multiplying it with 100 will give us our final percentage change in kinetic energy, which is 0.8%. So do you really think you have a time to solve the question like that? Of course you can solve like that. This method is not wrong at all. But what if I say you can solve this question in less than 10 seconds? Why you should borrow the time more as accepted? If I say you that you can solve the question in less than 10 seconds, so what to do now to solve the question in less than 10 seconds? Simple. Use the trick that if percentage change in x is alpha percent, that is given in question, and in our question it is given that it is 0.4%, then they ask then simply the percentage change in y is n times of alpha percent, where n is power raised to x and a is percentage change in x. Now looking at the question again, that if a mass of a body is constant, then supposing percentage change in velocity increases to say 0.4%, then what is the percentage change in kinetic energy equal to? In solving our general method, we got answer 0.8%. So let's look, we get our answer 0.8% or not. Now, solution is simple. The percentage change in kinetic energy is n times of alpha percent. Here you can see that the percentage change in y is n times of alpha percent. So substituting percentage in place of y, we have kinetic energy. So percentage change in kinetic energy is equal to n times alpha percent, where n is nothing but the power raised to v, because kinetic energy is directly proportional to v square. So our value of n is simply here in case is 2, and since the percentage change in x is 0.4%, so percentage change in kinetic energy is equal to 0.8% by multiplying 2 with 0.4%. So you got the answer as 0.8%. This is same as you got in general method. So how much time will you take to multiply 2 with 0.4%? Less than 10 seconds. If you of course if you know the arithmetic multiplication, then you have to take the time less than 10 seconds to solve this question. Why you go with general method? So after knowing this trick, I am accepting that you are going with the tricky method in an examination. If this type of question occurs, then you surely go with tricky method, not with general method. Now coming to the next slide, that is in which I have provided you some another question to solve to better understanding the concept. So here you got a question. The question says us a copper wire is stretched to make it 0.5% longer. That is, we have given a copper wire and it is stretched to 0.5% longer. Then they ask us the percentage change in resistance if its volume remains constant. If the volume of a wire is constant, then what is the percentage change in resistance if the wire is stretched to 0.4% longer? So here they want to ask us that suppose initially we have some wire pieces of length L and it increases and you can see stretched to 0.5%. So here you can see that wire is stretched to 0.5%. Then if the wire is stretched, then if the length of the wire is increases, so the hindrance provided to the current is also increased such that their resistance will also increase. So the examiner want to know what is the percentage change in resistance if the wire is stretched to 0.5%. So for solving this type of question, you have to go with the tricky solution. That is, if R is directly proportional to L square, that is given in our question that R is directly proportional to L square, where R is resistance and L is the length of the wire. So to find the percentage change in R, you have to simply multiply N with alpha percent. Remember the trick, that is percentage change in Y is nothing but N times of alpha percent, where N is the power raised to X. In our case, here N is the power raised to L, which is 2. So substituting the value of N here in 2 and the percentage change in length is 0.5%, multiplying it with 2, we got our final percentage change in resistance, which is equals to 1%, 0.5 into 3. Similarly, if suppose they stretch the wire to the 5%, then the examiner asks us what is the percentage change in resistance. So what you do now? You simply multiply 5 with 2 because R is directly proportional to L square, as well, and the percentage change in length is 5%, so 5 times of 2, which is equal to 10%. So how much time do you take to solve this question? And this question is asked in JEE 2019. So how much time do you take? You will take less than 10 seconds, and you can move to another question which can't be solved by the general method. So you save the time, increase your productivity. That's it. That is all you need to. That is all you need as a candidate in your examination. Now, coming to some limitation. This trick has limitation on its own, that it is only applicable for less than 10%. That is, if percentage change in x is only less than 10%, then only you can use this trick. Otherwise, this trick fails to explain or fails to find the percentage change in kinetic energy, or you can say you must go with general method. And if the percentage change in x is less than 10%, then you should definitely go with that trick. Note, this trick is only applicable for condition where percentage change is not more than 10%. Otherwise, it fails. So, what to do now if the percentage change in x is greater than 10%? So to solving this question, I got with another trick. I have another trick to show you. So let's move to our another trick. What our another trick says? The another trick says if y is directly proportional to x square. Here in another trick, it is only valid when y is directly proportional to x square. But in our previous cases, y is directly proportional to x to the power n, which is only applicable when where x is less than 10%. But the second trick is applicable when x is greater than 10%, and if y is directly proportional to only x square, not x to the power n. So for power raised to n, then percentage change in x is alpha percent. Percentage change in x is alpha percent means given in question, that is percentage change in x is alpha percent, which is where alpha is must be greater than 10. Then to find the percentage increase in x, suppose they say that the percentage increase in x, so y simply becomes, that is percentage change in y simply becomes 2 times of alpha plus alpha square by 100, where alpha is percentage change in x. And if percentage decrease in x, then y simply becomes 2 alpha minus alpha square by 100. Here I uses minus sign because there is decrease in x, so you can use by convention, there will be a minus and come. Now let's go to an example for better understanding. For y directly proportional to x square, if suppose they give us that percentage increase in x is 10%, then what is the percentage change in y? They might be asked that the percentage change in x is 10%, then what is the percentage change in y? So simply substituting the alpha value in this equation, which is y equal to 2 times of alpha plus alpha square by 100, you got the answer as 2 into 10 plus 10 square by 100, which is nothing but 21%. Similarly, for 50% increase in x, what is the percentage change in y? Substituting the value of 50 in alpha in this equation, you got the answer as 125%. That is what percentage change in y becomes 2 into 50 plus 2500, because alpha is 50 and alpha square becomes 2500 divided with 100, you got the answer as 125%. So you got the percentage change in y. Similarly, if they say percentage decrease in x is 10%, then what is the percentage change in y? It simply becomes 2 times of alpha, which is 10, minus alpha square by 100, which is 10 square by 100, so it becomes 19%. And I use here minus sign because of by convention decrease in x, so you can use minus sign in front of this. Now similarly, for 20% decrease in x, what is the percentage change in y? Similarly, put substituting the value here in y is equal to 2 alpha minus alpha square by 100 equation, you got the answer as minus 36%. So this trick is valid for y directly proportional to x square only, not y directly proportional to x to the power n. Now I am dropping some important questions for you to solve to get to more practice and have a good hand on this trick. So here you got the first question. The first question says us, if the percentage change in kinetic energy is 4%, then what is the percentage change in momentum? Here in this question, we have gotten the percentage change in kinetic energy is 4%. That is, if a particle have its initial kinetic energy, suppose K1, and its final kinetic energy becomes K2, which is changes to 4% of its initial kinetic energy, then they ask us what is the percentage change in momentum. So to solve this question, you have to first find the relation between momentum and kinetic energy. Then you can solve this question. It will be option A 8%, option B 1 by 2%, option C 1 by 8%, or option D 2%. I will encourage you to stop the video for a while and you try to solve this question on your own. And if you got the answer, then please comment in the comment box. Now coming to the next question, which is if the percentage change in momentum of a body is 40%, that is, it is given that the body have initial momentum, suppose P1, and its momentum now becomes P1 plus 40 times 40% of P1, then what is the percentage change in kinetic energy? So they ask us what is the percentage change in kinetic energy if the momentum increased. It will be 96%, 48%, 80%, and 20%. Now another question will be asked in JEE in 2023. which is if percentage change in the length of the simple pendulum is 0.04%, then change in time period of the pendulum is. This question want to know us that if that is suppose we have a simple pendulum and its length increases with 0.04%, and you can also say that in summer the length will sometimes increases, so there will concept like that, but not worry about that. Simply ask the question that if the percentage change in length of a simple pendulum is 0.04%, that is the simple pendulum length will increase to 0.4%. Then they ask what is the percentage change in time period of the pendulum, that what effect on its time period. Now it will be 0.06% increases, it will be 0.08%, it will be 0.01%, or it will be 0.02%. Comment in the comment box. This question is recently asked question in DGM 2023. Now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you understand anything, and if you like the content, then please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching once again.